Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again. It's time for game 2 of Black.
Good afternoon and welcome into the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales, Service, and Recreation. My name is Adam Birch and this is the J&J Truck and Auto Body pregame show presented by J&J Truck and Auto Body. For the highest quality work and hassle-free customer service, let J&J take away your stress. That's J&J Truck and Auto Body on East Philadelphia Street in Rapid City. Final game of the three-game series between the Casper Post 2 Oilers and your Post 22 Hardhats out of Rapid City. And the Hardhats have won the first two meetings in this series. Last night they defeated Casper 2-1. All three runs coming in the fourth inning. Today, a little bit different story. And trailing 2-1 most of the game until the starter Jordan Tharp left the ball game and was chased from the ball game for a reliever, and that came in the bottom of the sixth. The Hardhats ended up with 6 runs in that bottom of the sixth inning and took a 7-2 victory in game 2, game 1 of the doubleheader. So we set our sights on game 3 overall and in the back half of the doubleheader here today. And today's starting lineups for game 2 are built by Connect Home Center. Whether it's residential or commercial, Connect Home Center has been your hometown lumberyard since 1928. For the visiting Casper Post 2 Oilers, it's Thomas Stokes who leads things off. He's the second baseman. Grant Nipper, the designated hitter, he went 3 for 3 in game 1 of this doubleheader. Keep that in mind. He's the designated hitter and bats second. He's followed by Keaton Wilcox, the shortstop, who bats third. Shane Taggart, the third baseman, bats fourth, followed by Bryce Laughlin, the catcher, batting fifth. Maddox Houston bats sixth and plays first base. Eric Whitley, the center fielder, bats seventh. Nolan Hornecker plays left field. He bats eighth. And Ashton Armstrong, the right fielder, bats ninth for the Oilers. On the other side, the Post 22 Hardhats send Amarian Saylor to the plate first. He's the left fielder, followed by the catcher, Jake Solano. Wyatt Anderson at the hot corner at third base. He bats third, followed by Harrison Good, the right fielder, in the cleanup spot. Kai Jackson, the designated hitter, bats fifth, followed by Alex Dietrich, re-entered into the lineup. He plays first base and bats sixth. Peyton Tipton bats seventh and plays second base. Followed by Jed Jensen, the center fielder, and Wilson Kiefer, the shortstop, for head coach Kelvin Torvey and the Hardhats. Lineups being announced on the field as we speak. We'll have our national anthem here for game 2 on a warm afternoon for baseball between Casper and Rapid City. We'll take a step aside and come back for baseball right after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City.
throwing out the ceremonial first pitch.
Welcome back into the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast booth, Sales, Service, and Recreation. This is the conclusion of our J&J Truck and Auto Body pregame show presented by J&J Truck and Auto Body. Our ceremonial first pitch being thrown as we speak. Let's set the lineups one more time for the Casper Oilers. Thomas Stokes, the second baseman, will lead things off, followed by Grant Nipper, the designated hitter. Caden Wilcox, the shortstop, bats third, followed by Shane Taggart, the third baseman, in the fourth spot. Bryce Laughlin does the catching. He bats fifth. Maddox Houston, the first baseman, will bat sixth. Eric Whitley, the center fielder, bats seventh. And Nolan Hornecker, the left fielder, bats eighth, followed by Ashton Armstrong, the right fielder, batting ninth. Round of applause for our first pitch. Defensively for the Hardhats, a little bit different look for the Hardhats. Amarian Sailors in left field, Jed Jensen in center field, Harrison Good in right field. White Anderson at third base, Wilson Kiefer the shortstop, Peyton Tipton at second base, and Alex Dietrich the first baseman. With Jake Solano doing the catching for Dylan Marsh on the mound. Hardhats ready to take the field here for game 2 of the doubleheader. And dive into Dylan Marsh's numbers on the season. His last outing came against Mitchell, a tough Mitchell squad. One of perhaps the best teams in the state of South Dakota. And Marsh went 4 innings in that start, took the loss, allowed 7 runs, only 4 earned runs though. 7 hits, 3 walks, and 1 strikeout. Did hit a batter as well against Mitchell. The lone loss at the Veterans Classic for the Hardhats, and lone loss in their last 10 games, or 9 out of their last 10 games. Overall this season for Dylan Marsh, a respectable 2.33 ERA. Over 15 innings. This is his 4th appearance and 4th start. A 2-1 record, 9 hits, 8 runs, 5 earned runs, 10 walks, 7 strikeouts, 3 hit batters. For Dylan Marsh, the right-hander. He will work out of the windup against Casper. Casper moving a game under 500 with the loss here today. At 10-11, the Hardhats improving to 20-10 on their season. So currently 10 games above 500 for the Hardhats. Ceremonial tap of the Hardhats around Dylan Marsh. And set for baseball here in game 2. Sunlight shining very bright here in Rapid City. Not many clouds in the sky. A few behind us, but nothing threatening. Just a couple wisps of the clouds in the sky. Dylan Marsh, a deep breath as he toes the rubber. Thomas Stokes steps in on the right side. And the first pitch misses upstairs for ball 1 at 1:35 local Mountain Time. Marsh winds, kicks, deals, and the 1-0, a called strike right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike. Thomas Stokes in game 1 here today, an RBI single in the 2nd inning, drew a walk in the 1st. Bounced it to short in the 5th. And was hit by a pitch in the 7th as Marsh misses down and away for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike, tap of the plate on the right side. Blue batting gloves that go along with his blue jersey for Stokes. A line drive to left field right at Amarian Sailor and perfectly placed. He makes the grab out number 1. So 1 up, 1 gone for the Oilers. Now Grant Nipper, mentioned while reading off the lineup card. Nipper went 3 for 3 in game 1 today. Looks at a first pitch breaking ball, low for ball 1. Into the line, the 1-0. Down and away, 2 balls and no strikes. Our umpires here today in matching pink tops. 2-0, fouled back off the netting. So 2 balls and a strike on Nipper. 3 for 3, all singles, did drive in a run, and also drew a walk in his final plate appearance. 2-1, a strike across the bell, fastball that time from Marsh. Even count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Marsh sets up into the wind and the 2-2, a little bit upstairs. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Working with Jake Solano behind the plate. Into the line and the payoff. Pop up right side of the infield. Alex Dietrich a few steps into foul territory, makes the grab, out number 2. Now Caden Wilcox, 2 up, 2 gone, 2 outs and nobody on. Caden Wilcox steps in on the right side. Orange cleats for Wilcox. And 1 white batting glove on his lower left hand. First pitch to Wilcox, chopper right at the blade, 0-1. Now balls and a strike on Wilcox. The shortstop in game 1 today went 0 for 3. Into the wind, the 0-1. A strike called right above the knees. No balls and 2 strikes now on Wilcox. First time all weekend that the Oilers did not draw a leadoff walk to start off the ball game. 0-2, chopper up the third baseline, foul. Spins towards the Hardhats dugout. Still 2 strikes on Wilcox. Solano sets up down and away. Here's the 2-strike pitch, and it misses up and away for ball 1. Love the contraption that the Hardhats have set up next to their home dugout. Piping outside of the netting. Breaking ball. Wilcox bends out of the way of that one. Even count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, 2 gone. And it's for people to distribute baseballs into a bucket. Put back in play. Popped up right side. Alex Dietrich gives chase. And he runs out of room.
Thanks for returning on foul balls to the tape booth. Black Hills Pediatric Dentistry, our sponsor of foul balls.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes on Caden Wilcox. Coming into play, batting .390 before game 1 today. 2-2, line drive, hooking foul. Left field line. Ends up in the corner right below the .325 marker. Marsh, Whiten's kick steals once again, and the 2-2. Swing and a miss on the high fastball. And 3 up, 3 down go the Oilers in their half of the first. Hardhats the bat for the first time here in game 3 of the series. Back in a moment on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City.
We are your community. We are your neighbors. Our family of doctors are invested in our community. At Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, We are honored to help you along the journey from injury to recovery. You have a choice with Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you.
Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales, Service, and Recreation. Justin Wicks to the mound to face the Hardhats here in the final game of this 3-game weekend set. Hardhats and Oilers. And Justin Wicks on the mound. 8 2/3 so far this season. This is his 6th appearance, but first start of the year. 12 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned runs. 8 strikeouts to 4 walks, a 1.62 ERA, and a whip of 1.846. The right-hander Justin Wicks facing a Hardhats lineup that looks like this. Amarian Saylor, the leadoff man, he plays left field. Jake Solano bats second, he's the catcher. Wyatt Anderson at the hot corner of third base, batting third. Harrison Good bats fourth. He's the right fielder. Kai Jackson, the designated hitter, bats fifth. Alex Dietrich, the first baseman, sixth. Peyton Tipton at second base. He'll bat seventh, followed by Jed Jensen in center field and Wilson Kiefer, the shortstop, against Justin Wicks. Defensive alignment for the Casper Oilers. Nolan Hornecker, the left fielder. Eric Whitley in center field. Ashton Armstrong, the right fielder. Across the infield, Shane Taggart at the hot corner. Caden Wilcox, the shortstop. Thomas Stokes, the second baseman. And Maddox Houston, the first baseman, with Bryce Laughlin, the other half of the battery mate, behind the plate for Justin Wicks. Amarian Saylor to lead things off. Farley with that foul ball off his ankle late in game one. So he gets the rest here for game two. First pitch outside, ball one, and underway in the bottom of the first. Scoreless after 1/2 inning of play. Into the wind, and the breaking ball chopped into the Hardhats dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike. Saylor, Solano, and Anderson. Wicks on the far first base side. Winds, kicks, deals, and the 1-1. Down and away. 2 balls and a strike. Dylan Marsh quickly through the top half of the first. 3 up, 3 down. The 2-1. Line drive, base hit into left field, and down for a hit. Amarian Saylor leads off the bottom of the first with a base knock. The catcher, Jake Solano. Solano up in the lineup to the second spot. Not to be surprised to see Solano potentially drop down a bunt. Taggart at third creeping in. About in line with the third base bag. And Wicks steps off and looks back. Saylor. Popped up by Solano behind the plate. The catcher, Laughlin, gives chase and runs out of room as it drops into the second row. So no balls and a strike on Jake Solano. Nice play made on that foul ball by a young fan. The 0-1 from Wicks. And Solano looks at a called strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes on Jake Solano. A long look in from Justin Wicks. Set at the belt. 0-2, line drive, base hit into center field. Saylor up to second, and Solano aboard first after back-to-back singles to lead off the bottom of the first. And quickly, Bryce Lachlan out to the mound to chat with Wicks. 2 on, nobody out for Wyatt Anderson. Anderson came up big in game 1 of this doubleheader. Came on as a pinch hitter and drove a double off the wall. Bats here for the first time against Justin Wicks. 2 on, nobody out, scoreless, bottom of the first. First pitch to Anderson, a breaking ball called strike 1. No balls and a strike. So for Wyatt Anderson on the season, batting .406. A hard hat in his senior year. He's at the hot corner of third base. A long stare down Wicks and Saylor, and Anderson asks for time. Saylor off of second, Solano off of first. The first baseman Nelson playing in front of Solano. The 0-1, bouncer right back up the middle, slow roller into center field. Saylor being sent around third. He will score standing up. It's an RBI single for Wyatt Anderson. Solano goes first to third, so it'll be runners on the corners, 1-0 Hardhats. And Harrison Good coming to the plate. Runners on the corner, still nobody out. Harrison Good coming to the plate. Lachlan relays some signs in front of the plate. Just in case Anderson would take off, strapping that oven mitt on his left hand. Harrison Good lines one to right field. It hangs up into the glove of Ashton Armstrong, tagging and scoring Jake Solano. And it's 2-0 Hardhats after the sacrifice fly. One right fielder flies out to the other. But that's just the first out, so runner on first. 1 out, 2-0 Hardhats. Kai Jackson at the plate. First pitch to Jackson, a left-handed bat, outside ball 1. Righty against lefty, Jackson. In game 1. A double in the first, RBI single in the 6th. He went 2 for 4. The 1-0 popped up left side of the infield. Over is a third baseman, and in foul territory, it's the shortstop to call him off. That's Caden Wilcox, and Anderson running on the play. Ended up at second base. It was caught, just a mental base running mistake, and he gets doubled off. Hardhats lead 2-0 after 1. Back for the second after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City.
We are your community. We are your neighbors. Our family of doctors are invested in our community. At Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, we are honored to help you along the journey from injury to recovery. You have a choice with Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you.
Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales, Service, and Recreation. Top of inning number 2. And the Hardhats with a 2-0 lead after 1 inning of play. 3 straight singles for the Hardhats to lead off the bottom of the first, and RBI for Wyatt Anderson. And then a sacrifice fly and an RBI off the bat of Harrison Good. So the first 4 are very productive at-bats for the Hardhats in their lineup. And a pop out in foul territory ended up doubling off Wyatt Anderson, which is a base running mistake. 2-0 Hardhats, and Marsh misses the outer edge on Shane Taggart for ball 1. Taggart, Lachlan, and Houston, the 3 scheduled here in the second. Swing and a miss on the 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. Marsh sat down the Oilers in order in the first. The 1-1 breaking ball downstairs. 2 balls and a strike now. And now to the head by Marsh, into the wind he goes in the 2-1. Chopper right past him, fielded by Tipton at second, bobbled and thrown to first, not in time. It'll be an error on Peyton Tipton. Start off the second. And all Coach Torvey can do is shake his head. So 2-0 Hardhats, runner on first for Casper. Marsh working out of the stretch for the first time. New batter at the dish, Bryce Lachlan, the catcher. Runner takes off for second. The pitch is down and away. He went around. The throw down skips by Tipton and backed up on the play by Kiefer. They say Lachlan went around at the plate. No balls and a strike, the count on him. And a runner on second after the stolen base by Taggart. Marsh looks in, twirls the baseball behind his back as he looks into Solano. Comes set, double takes back to second, kicks and deals. And it's a called strike 2 on the outer edge. No balls and 2 strikes. Two runs, 3 hits for the Hardhats in that first inning. 0-2, misses downstairs. A ball and 2 strikes. Solano flashes a few signs, and Marsh likes one. The 1-2, breaking ball, lifted into left field. Amarian Sailor to his left. He's underneath of it, makes the grab. Taggart fakes the tag, and he stays put. It's a fly out to left for out number 1. Here's Maddox Houston. The first baseman came on as a pinch hitter last night in the 7th and struck out. That was his lone at-bat so far this weekend in the starting 9 here today. And that one skips in the turf all the way back to the backstop. Taggart goes to third on the wild pitch. It's the opening run for Casper, 90 feet away now. Still just the 1 out. Houston and then Eric Whitley. 1-0, misses up and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Marsh throws the baseball behind his back. Set and the 2-0. A little bloop shot into center field on the run. Peyton Tipton, he can't get there. It bounces in front of Jed Jensen. Down for a base hit. An RBI single for Maddox Houston with 1 out. And it'll bring up Eric Whitley. Whitley, the center fielder, in game 1 today, he went 0 for 3, but reached on a drop third strike. Squares the bunt, offers at it, and can't drop it down. No balls and a strike now. Bunting with 1 out. Runner on first, 2-1 our score in favor of Rapid City. And once again, Whitley squares early, drops it down in front of Anderson to fire to first in time, out number 2. Man in scoring position now with 2 outs, and Nolan Hornecker to the plate.
Left fielder 34, Nolan Hornecker.
Hornecker steps in on the right side, taps the dish, bounces the bat off his right shoulder. First pitch from Marsh to Hornecker, swung on and missed, 0-1. Hornecker took the loss in game 1 of the doubleheader. Gave up the 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th. Starts in left field for game 2. The 0-1 swung on and missed. Now no balls and 2 strikes on Hornecker. Runner on second, 2 gone. Hardhats hanging on to a 2-1 lead. Marsh likes the sign and takes a peek at second. Sidesteps and deals and misses down and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Marsh ready and set once again. The 1-2 down and away, snagged by Solano. Off a second, Solano fires down there and safe at second. Runner just got his fingertip on the second base bag. That's Houston. As Kiefer put the tag on his cleat. The 2-2 from Dylan Marsh. Strike 3 called, inside edge, and a backwards K ends the second. Casper's cuts into their deficit. It's 2-1 Hardhats as we head to the bottom of inning number 2. Back in a moment on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service Cast booth, sales service and recreation. Bottom of inning number 2, the Hardhats holding on to a 2-1 lead as Justin Wicks returns to the mound for his second inning of work. Gave up 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning as the Hardhats sent 5 men to the plate. Alex Dietrich, Peyton Tipton, and Jed Jensen to bat here in the second. Strong wind now blowing almost straight out, left to right. Dietrich steps in on the right side of the dish, and Wicks into the windup. And a first pitch breaking ball called strike one on the inside edge. No balls in the strike. Alex Dietrich batting even 200 on the season. 0-1, waved at a breaking ball, and now no balls and 2 strikes. 10 hits and 50 at-bats. 6 singles, 3 doubles, and a triple. And 1-2, checked his swing. The appeal to first, no swing. And Dietrich goes after a ball in the turf. It'll go back to the backstop, and Dietrich will reach on the drop third strike. So it'll be a strikeout, the first strikeout for Wicks. With the drop third strike to allow Dietrich to reach. Tipton squares the bunt, pulls back, and watches ball one, actually strike one, be called at the plate. Dietrich at first, and nobody out. The 0-1 misses high. Tipton squared and pulled back. More signs from Coach Torvey down at third. Tap to the plate on the right side for Tipton. 2-1 Hardhats. Tipton does not square this time, and the breaking ball misses high. 2 balls and a strike. Leaves his white bat out in front. The 2-1, swinging away, popped it up left side, shallow left field. A long run for the left fielder, Nolan Hornecker, and in foul territory. He makes the grab, out number 1. Very high fly ball. And Hornecker was able to run underneath of. Here's Jed Jensen, center fielder for game 2. Bats with 1 on, 1 gone in the bottom of the second. 2-1 Hardhats. First pitch to Jensen, a bouncer up the middle, fielded by the shortstop Wilcox. He goes to second himself, to first, not in time. Jensen beat it out. So Jensen reaches on the fielder's choice to force that second. Here's Wilson Kiefer. Kiefer had a nice game last night and also had an RBI single in game 1 today. Check on Jensen at first. He dives back in. Two to 1 our score on the State Farm scoreboard, insured by agents Scott Carlson and Matt McCormick, in favor of Rapid City over Casper. First pitch to Wilson Kiefer, swung on and missed. 0-1. Kiefer, tap of the plate on the right side. And the 0-1 from Wicks. Jensen takes off, and the pitch is a called strike 2 to throw down. Is in time to get Jensen. He's caught stealing for out number 3, so Wilson Kiefer will lead off the bottom of the third. But to the top of the third we go after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast booth, Sales Service and Recreation. Top of inning number 3, Dylan Marsh back to the hill for the Hardhats. Wind blowing straight in now in a 2-1 ball game in favor of Rapid City. Ashton Armstrong will lead things off for Casper. 9-1-2 of the Oilers lineup. That's exactly what will come to the plate in the third inning for the Hardhats. And first pitch line drive to left center field. It hangs up into the glove of Jed Jensen in center field. Moving to his right, he makes the grab out number 1. And now Thomas Stokes bats for the second time against Dylan Marsh. Brian Atkinson trots his way down to the bullpen. As Marsh into the wind against Stokes. And it's a called strike 1 across the belt. No balls and a strike. 1 out, nobody on. The 0-1. Breaking ball. Touch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stokes flied to left, his first opportunity to lead off the ball game. The 1-1. Fly ball to center field, a few steps back, still going back, Jed Jensen, but very playable for him as he makes the grab out number 2.
The batter, 24, Grant Nipper.
Here's Grant Nipper. Popped out in foul territory to Dietrich at first base. Second out in the first inning. 2 outs, nobody on here, and the first pitch to Nipper. Breaking ball missed high, ball 1. Brian Atkinson lightly throwing in the bullpen area. The 1-0 misses high with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Quickly into the wind is Dylan Marsh, the 2-0 breaking ball. Inside edge called strike 1. Two balls and a strike. Marsh winds, kicks, deals, and the 2-1 is called strike 2 across the belt. 2's across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 gone. The 2-2. Breaking ball, lifted foul, right side out of play. So Nipper stays alive. He's 0 for 1 today. Here in game 2. 3 for 3 in game 1. The 2-2. Runs inside. Nipper spins out of the way of that one. 3-2 on Nipper. Caden Wilcox on deck. Marsh into the wind and the payoff. Breaking ball. Missed a touch high and maybe inside as well.
The shortstop, number 23.
2-out walk drawn by Nipper. Now Caden Wilcox. Strikeout victim of Dylan Marsh to end the first inning. Runner on first, 2 gone. And Casper trailing 2-1. First pitch fastball misses high. 1 ball, no strikes. Marsh approaching 50 pitches. Set in the 1-0, misses high, another fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. This will be pitch number 50 from Dylan Marsh. Likes the sign, comes set, the 2-0. Breaking ball stays high, and now 3 balls and no strikes. And Marsh will wipe his brow with his white top before he toes the rubber once again. The 3-0 to Wilcox. A strike right above the belt. 3 balls and a strike. Marsh working with Solano. Long look in, now he comes set. And a pickoff move over to first. Nipper dives back in safely. (3-1), bouncer to short. Wilson Kiefer bobbles it, and it goes through his legs. Wilcox will reach on the error. Charge of the shortstop. And the inning will continue for Shane Taggart. Taggart reached on an error to start off the second inning. And he eventually scored Casper's lone run in this ball game after he stole second and went to third on a wild pitch. Marsh makes a move back to second. Set in the first pitch to Taggart. Popped up left side of the infield. Wyatt Anderson underneath of it. He makes the grab, out number 3. Oilers strand a couple of base runners, and they still trail 2-1 after 2.5 innings of play. Back in a moment, right here on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast booth, Sales, Service, and Recreation. Hardhats hanging on to a 2-1 advantage over Casper here in Game 3 of the 3-game set. And the second half of the doubleheader on this Saturday afternoon. Justin Wicks back to the mound to face 9-1-2 of the Hardhats lineup. That's Wilson Kiefer, and then Amarian Saylor and Jake Solano. Kiefer will bat for the first time against Justin Wicks. Saylor and Solano both singled off of him in the bottom of the first. Bottom of the third here. And Wicks ready on the hill. Wilson Kiefer scored a run in game one of the doubleheader. Also drove in a run. Into the line in the first pitch to Kiefer. He scores the bunt, pulls back. It's ball one outside. Tap to the plate. Wicks into the wind and the 1-0. And taken for a strike. And that was a breaking ball from Wicks. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Wines kicks, deals in the 1-1 inside. 2 balls and a strike. Hardhats with 3 hits. Casper with 1. Post 22 with 2 errors. Kiefer scores the bunt, pulls back. 3 balls and a strike. Top of the order on deck. Inamari and Saylor. The 3-1. Chop foul right at the plate. 3-2 now on Kiefer. Two taps of the plate on the right side. The payoff, Wicks to Kiefer. Popped up right side, out of play. Houston gave chase at first. Ran out of room. Another payoff upcoming. Starting the bottom of the third. Wicks winds, kicks, deals. Here's the payoff, and it runs inside and hits Kiefer. Right on the backside. Kiefer on to lead off the third. Marion Saylor now to step in against Wicks. That was a breaking ball that just didn't break for Wicks. Ended up right at Kiefer. Marion Saylor singled and scored a run in the first inning. Steps in here. Nobody out. Kiefer off of first. And Saylor looks at that ball 1 low. One ball, no strikes on Saylor. Followed by Jake Solano. Wicks set at the belt from the stretch in the 1-0. It's a called strike on the inner edge. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ready once again as Wicks comes set. Kiefer stays put. Marion Saylor bouncer up the middle into center field. Kiefer will stay put. Nope, he heads for third. A strong throw into third. He slides in safely. Saylor up to second, standing up. So nice base running for the Hardhats. Kiefer going first to third on a slow roller up the middle. Another single for Marion Saylor, moves to second on the throw. Hardhats in business now. 2 ducks on the pond, in scoring position with nobody out, and leading 2-1. Jake Solano has already singled and scored in this ball game. Wicks into the wind. The first pitch swung on and missed by Solano. Down in the count, he goes 0-1. White Anderson on deck. The 0-1, Wicks still working on the windup, and he misses downstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the wide once again. The 1-1. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Have not seen the top of the lineup switch that much this season. As Solano looks at a ball on the turf. 3 balls and a strike now on Jake Solano. Usually it's Zeke Farley at the top. Amarian Saylor follows him. And then, for the most part, it's Wyatt Anderson in the 3 spot. The 3-1 to Solano, bouncer up the third base line, foul. Now 3-2. With Farley out after the foul ball off his front foot in game 1 today, Amarian Saylor assumes the leadoff role. Solano asked for time right as Wicks went into the windup. Jake Solano moves all the way up into the 2nd spot. Payoff pitch, Wicks to Solano, and it misses downstairs, ball 4. Bases loaded for Wyatt Anderson. Anderson already an RBI single in the 1st inning. Drove in the opening run of this contest. Bases full, nobody out. Big opportunity for the Hardhats to try and break this game open. They lead 2-1. First pitch to Anderson. A strike at the knees, 0-1. The 0-1, bouncer up the middle field by the shortstop Wilcox, the 2nd for 1 over the first in time. That's a double play. A run comes in to score. It's 3-1 Hardhats. No RBI for Anderson. 6-4-3 the double play.
The batter of 14, Harrison, good.
Saylor scores. Actually, Kiefer scores. Saylor at 3rd now. Here's Harrison, good. Sacrifice fly his first opportunity, and he goes after a high fastball, swings right through it. 0-1. Two outs, runner at 3rd, the 0-1. Bouncer up the first base line, slow roller, and the fire to first. In time, Wicks to Houston. In timeout number 3. The Hardhats add 1 more run, but it could have been a lot more. Bases loaded, nobody out, turns into 1 run. 3-1 our score after 3. Back in a moment on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast booth. Sales, Service, and Recreation. Dylan Marsh back to the mound for the Hardhats. Now working with a 3-1 lead. 1 run by the Hardhats in the bottom of the 3rd. 3 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors defensively for the Hardhats in this ball game. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors for Casper. Dylan Marsh to face 5, 6, and 7. The Oilers lineup. It's Bryce Laughlin, the catcher, Maddox Houston, the first baseman, and Eric Whitley, the center fielder. First wind of the 4th for Dylan Marsh is a line drive right back up the middle in the center field. For the single. Now Maddox Houston. Houston, an RBI single in the 2nd. That scored the lone run for Casper. Houston bats from the right side. Runner on first, nobody out. 3-1 Hardhats. He scores the bunt early, drops it up right in front of Marsh. Barehands it, fields and fires to first in time. With Laughlin moving to second base. Sack bunt in the book for out number 1.
The center fielder, number 7, Eric Whitley.
Now Eric Whitley, center fielder, dropped down a sacrifice bunt in his first plate appearance. No official at bat. 1 out, runner on second, 3-1 Hardhats. First pitch to Whitley is a bouncer right back to Marsh. Runs 3/4 of the way, underhand flip to Dietrich, and up the third it goes Laughlin. Now Nolan Hornecker. Struck out looking against Marsh in the 2nd. Bats here for the 2nd time in the 4th. Runner at third, 3-1. Hornecker at the plate, and Marsh comes set at his chest. The first pitch outside for ball 1. Laughlin is leadoff single. Sacrificed to second and went to third on a ground out back to the pitcher. 1-0, swung on and missed. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Black batting gloves for Hornecker. An orange and silver bat. The 1-1 outside. 2 balls and a strike. Marsh set once again, and the 2-1 is a called strike 2 right at the bell. 2s across the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, a runner on third, and 2 gone. 3-1 Hardhats. Marsh set, and the 2-2 chopper up the third baseline foul. Marsh gets the baseball from Wyatt Anderson. Another 2-2 pitch upcoming. Very bright day here in Rapid City. The 2-2, line drive to center field, a long run for Jed Jensen, and is right at him. He makes the grab as he runs underneath of it for out number 3. Runner stranded at third for the Oilers. We head to the bottom of the 4th with the Hardhats leading 3-1. Back in a moment on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales Service and Recreation. Bottom of inning number 4. The Hardhats will send 5, 6, and 7. Kai Jackson, Alex Dietrich, and Peyton Tipton to the plate. Comes Justin Wicks. Holding on to a 3-1 advantage on the State Farm scoreboard, insured by agents Scott Carlson and Matt McCormick. Trying to sweep the 3-game set here in Rapid City with Casper. It's originally scheduled that the Hardhats would play 5 games this weekend. And it was kind of a triangle set with Pierre and Casper. Pierre unable to come to Rapid City. So instead of playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just Friday and Saturday this weekend with Casper. First pitch to Kai Jackson, misses downstairs for ball 1. Left-handed bat of Kai Jackson. He popped out in foul territory, and Wilcox made the play. Called strike 1 on the outer edge. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ended up being a double play on a base running mistake. 1-1, a high fly ball deep left field. Nolan Hornecker underneath of it now, and he makes the grab for out number 1.
The fly on room 27, Alex Dietrich.
Brings up Alex Dietrich. Dietrich 0 for 1. Reached on a drop, 3rd strike. And a bouncer up the middle field by the shortstop Wilcox. Up with it, fires to first in time, out number 2.
At the plate, number 10, Peyton Tipton.
So quickly, 2 up, 2 gone. And now Peyton Tipton. Tipton fly to left, his first opportunity. Taps the plate on the right side. 2 outs, nobody on, 3-1 Hardhats. Tipton looks at ball 1 outside from Wicks. Into the wind and the 1-0. Breaking ball inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Hardhats once again will play post 320 over at Peatline Field on Wednesday night, as Tipton looks at a called strike 1. That game scheduled for 7 o'clock Mountain Time. The 2-1. Breaking ball, high fly ball to deep left field. Back as Hornecker still going back up against the wall on the warning track. He makes the grab for out number 3. Boy, Tipton got a lot of that one. We've seen him hit a couple out to left field. Not that time. We head to the 5th after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail broadcast booth, Sales, Service, and Recreation. Top of inning number 5, Dylan Marsh back to the hill for the Hardhats. He will face 9, 1, and 2 of the Oilers lineup and post 2. Dylan Marsh, his line so far today, 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 unearned run, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. Into the line, and the first pitch to Ashton Armstrong is a called strike 1 on the outer edge. 0-1. Armstrong 0 for 1 on the day. Fly to center. His first opportunity, the 0-1. Fly ball to shallow right field. Harrison Good calls off Peyton Tipton. And he makes the grab for out number 1.
The batters are 29, Thomas Stokes.
Now Thomas Stokes. Pair of flyouts on his line for game 2. Fly to left and a fly to center. First pitch to Stokes, misses high at the eyeballs for ball 1. A called strike now at the knees. Even count 1 ball and 1 strike. One popped up and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes now the count. Marsh ready, gathers and goes into the line. The 1-2 to Stokes. Bouncer left side through the gap into left field. A 1-out single for Thomas Stokes.
At the plate is number 24, Grant Nipper.
So runner on first, 1 out. Grant Nipper now. Drove walk his last trip, popped out in foul territory on the right side, his first. Runner on first, 1 gone, and Nipper fouls it away, backing out of play. The ball's and a strike. Marshall working out of the stretch now with the runner on first. The 0-1 popped up right side and reaches out of play. Now no balls and 2 strikes on Nipper. Just an 0 for 1 ball game. Caden Wilcox will bat next, barring a double play ball. Marsh looks into Solano, who flashes the signs to him. The 2-strike pitch to Nipper, a bouncer, and to Kiefer, a diving stop by Kiefer at short. He'll just hang on to it as it ricocheted out of his glove. But he kept that ball from going into left field. It'll be an infield single for Grant Nipper. And now Caden Wilcox. 2 on, 1 out. And a 3-1 ball game. Hardhats leading against Casper. 2-1 the victory for the Hardhats in game 1 last night. Game 2, the first of the doubleheader here today, 7-2 the victory. And now leading 3-1 in game 3. First pitch, Wilcox fouls it back and out of play, 0-1. The 0-1, breaking ball. This one driven to fairly deep left field. Underneath of it, Amarian Saylor makes the grab, out number 2. Now Shane Taggart.
The third baseman, number 1, Shane Taggart. And the plate,
2 on, 2 outs, 3-1. Tying run on base. Go ahead run at the plate. Taggart is 0 for 2, reached on an error and scored the only run for Casper in this ball game, an unearned run. First pitch breaking ball misses a little bit high for ball 1. Taggart on the season does have a home run, batting .370. The 1-0 misses high, throw down to second, not in time. And skipped into center field. Stokes holds up there. Back-to-back one-out singles from the Oilers as runners on first and second. A fly out for the second out, and now first and second, 2 gone. Marsh said he stares down Stokes, sidesteps and deals, and misses outside 3-0. Dietrich behind the base runner at first. The 3-0. Across the belt, called strike 1. 3 balls and a strike on Taggart. Marsh shakes off the sign, now nods his head in agreement. The 3-1. Bouncer right side, fielded by Dietrich. He takes it to the first base bag himself. That's out number 3. Couple of base runners stranded by the Oilers. They still trail 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Jed Jensen, Wilson Kiefer, and Amarian Saylor to hit for the Hardhats in their half of the 5th. After this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast booth. Sales, service, and recreation. Bottom of inning number 5, and the Hardhats holding on to a 3-1 advantage, looking for any sort of insurance. Heading into the final couple of innings of a regulation in Game 3 of the 3-game set. So for Post 22 next week, they'll face Post 320 at Pete Lean on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Then they travel up I-90 to Spearfish for a doubleheader with Post 164, in which they beat in 2 one-run victories, 1-0 and 4-3 here in Rapid City. So a tough team in Spearfish awaiting them on Thursday night. That's a 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. start. And they go down to right around Denver for the weekend set at Rock Canyon. First pitch popped up, foul out of play on the right side. No balls and a strike on Jed Jensen. The 0-1. Breaking ball, line drive to left field, right at Nolan Hornecker. And he makes the grab for out number 1.
The Wild will bring up the shortstop number 15, Wilson Kiefer.
Now Wilson Kiefer. Kiefer was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning. Ended up scoring the 3rd run of the ball game for the Hardhats. Was eventually bases loaded and nobody out, and the Hardhats only got 1 run. First pitch to Kiefer, down and away, ball 1. And this one, a fly ball, shallow right field. Ashton Armstrong in and underneath it, makes the grab out number 2.
Now batting number 13, Amarian Saylor.
Now Marion Saylor, 2 for 2 ball game for Saylor in the leadoff spot. Hardhats after next week and their trip to across the parking lot to Spearfish and then to Rock Canyon. They set their sights on Omaha. And a Creighton Prep tournament. Always a fun time in Omaha, Nebraska. First pitch to Amarian Saylor, outside for ball 1. Wicks into the wind and the 1-0, down and away. 2 balls and no strikes, 2 outs and nobody on for the Hardhats. And the 5th. Saylor looks at ball 3 downstairs. Looks like Jude Sears trotting down to the bullpen with Philip Benz to warm up potentially for the 7th. And Saylor looks at ball 4, down and away, and draws a 2-out walk. Plenty of speed on first for Jake Solano. 1 for 1 for the Hardhats catcher. A single, a run scored, and a walk. Two outs, runner on first. First pitch to Solano is high. A back pick throw down to first, not in time. 1 ball, no strikes on Solano. Wicks checks on Saylor once again, and he dives back in safely. The take slapped on by Maddox Houston. The 1-0 to Solano. Saylor takes off. The pitch is high and tight for a ball to throw down to second in time. They get Amarian Saylor caught stealing for out number 3. So the Hardhats leading 3-1. We head to the 6th after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports.
Your mom and dad, they can guess me.
Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales Service and Recreation, top of the 6th. And Dylan Marsh back to the mound, leading 3-1. Marsh will face Laughlin, Houston, and Whitley in the Casper lineup. Both teams with 4 hits aside. 1 run to show for it for Casper, 3 for the Hardhats, but 2 crucial errors for the Hardhats, and luckily enough, it only surrendered to 1 run. Just a 1 unearned run against Dylan Marsh so far. He enters this inning at 78 pitches. Jude Sears in the bullpen area, warming up potentially for the 7th inning. Bryce Laughlin steps to the dish.
Close to number 32, Bryce Laughlin.
Laughlin one for 2 on the ball game. A single his last trip in the 4th. Marsh into the line, and it skips well in front of the plate for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. The wind and the 1-0. Swing and a miss by Laughlin. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Expos just defeated Lincoln East by a score of 9-3. As Marsh misses down and away for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. Even count now, 2-2. Marsh into the wind. He kicks and deals the 2-2. And outside ball 3. 3-2 now on Dylan Marsh. Leadoff man here in the top of the 6th. Payoff. High ball 4. Laughlin draws leadoff walk.
To the plate, first baseman, 00, Max Houston.
Now Maddox Houston. 1 for 1 day for Houston. An RBI single in the 2nd. Dropped down to sacrifice bunt his last time. I get the bunt signal on here once again with Casper trailing by 2, 3-1. Does not square, and he looks at a called strike on the inner edge, 0-1. So Bryce Laughlin aboard first. Nobody out. Tying run at the plate. The 0-1. Called strike 2. About the same spot. Right across the belt. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Marsh likes the sign from Solano. The 2-strike pitch. Downstairs, a ball and 2 strikes. Waves the bat head out in front as Marsh comes sent after a peek at first. 1-2 chopped, fair, and spins past Solano. Maddox Houston will reach on an infield single. Chopper off the plate. Ended up in fair territory and had some wicked spin on it that just spun right behind Solano. So a walk and a single. 2 on, nobody out, and Eric Whitley might be asked to lay down a bunt. Nobody out. Tying run out on base for Casper. Whitley swings away. It's a base hit into left field. Runner held up at third base. That's Lachlan. Everyone moves up to 90 feet. And it's bases loaded, nobody out for Nolan Hornecker. A walk and 2 singles in this inning against Marsh. And here comes Coach Clappridge out of the dugout, along with the entire Hardhats infield. No signal just yet for Jude Sears in the bullpen. Would be a difficult spot for Jude. Long conversation, Coach Clappridge and the rest of the Hardhats infield. Marsh will stay in this ball game. Bases full, nobody out. Hornecker is 0 for 2. Struck out looking, aligned to center. Big spot here for Hornecker. Marsh will work out on the stretch. He comes set at the chest. Sidesteps and deals, and the first pitch swung on and missed 0-1. Light clouds starting to roll in here in Rapid City. So rain expected later on tonight. Might be a good thing that this ball game is played during the day. The 0-1 is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Look pretty close. 3-1 our score in favor of the Hardhats. Marsh set once again, and the 1-1. Strike right across the bell, 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes now on Nolan Hornecker. Marsh ready, and the 1-2. Breaking ball just got a piece of it. Bouted off of Solano, it looked like. Still 1-2. Ashton Armstrong on deck, followed by the top of the order for the Oilers. Sears looks to be ready in the bullpen area. The 1-2 popped up, right side out of play. And Marsh will throw a 95th pitch. Trying to dig deep here. Set in the 1-2. Low jam shot, and it hangs up. Diving attempt by Amarian Saylor, rolls to the wall. 2 runs coming to score. Here comes the third to the plate. It's cut off. And it's a bases clearing double for Nolan Hornecker. And Casper takes the lead at 4-3.
That was Blaze number 10, Ashton Armstrong.
3-run double for Hornecker. And now Marsh will stay in this ball game, at least for the moment. First pitch to Armstrong misses down and away for ball 1. So Lachlan, Houston, and Whitley all score. 2 balls and no strikes on Armstrong. Marsh missed down and away. Two 2-0, pop foul out of play. Two balls and a strike. Runner on second, nobody out. 2-1. Misses a touch low or outside. 3 balls and a strike on Armstrong. The 3-1, outside ball 4. And that'll be the end of the day for Dylan Marsh. Ryan Clapperich out of the dugout once again. And we'll take a step aside. Hardhats now trailing 4-3. We're still in the top of the 6th. Back for the rest of the 6th inning after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales Service and Recreation. 4-3 now the Hardhats trail. 3 runs in this inning for Casper. Still nobody out, and Jude Sears to the mound, the right-hander, in relief of Dylan Marsh. There's 2 men on and nobody out, so Marsh responsible for those 2 men on base. Pickoff move back to second before the first pitch to the top of the order in Thomas Stokes. Jude Sears this season, 7 1/3. This is his 7th appearance. Does have 1 save and 1 opportunity. Sears set a peek at second, double takes and delivers. And Stokes looks at ball 1 outside. Looked like he was squaring the bunt, but pulled back. 6 hits, 11 runs, 4 earned runs. 8 walks to 5 strikeouts, 1 hit batter, a 3.82 ERA for Jude Sears. Stokes squares early and pulls back, but it's a called strike 1. The corner's crashing in for the Hardhats. Solano relays some signs in front of the plate, and Stokes has a talking to his third base coach, head coach Caitlin Hill. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Stokes 1 for 3, a single was last time in the 5th. Squaring early, pulls back, and a pickoff move to second. And it's not in time. Very close play at second base. One ball, 1 strike. Stokes squares once again. And a line drive to right field, down for a base hit. It rolls into the corner. 1 run will come in and score. Stokes heads for second, and he will stay put there. Here comes another runner to the plate. He scores. It's a 2-run double for Thomas Stokes. And it's 6-3 Oilers. Hardhats still looking for their first out defensively here in this 6th inning. Grant Nipper, the new batter. Runner on second Nobody out. First pitch to Nipper. Misses high for ball 1. Sears delivers. Nipper drives one to deep right field. Good underneath of it. He makes the grab. Stokes tags and bluffs going to third base.
First out of the inning, the batter, number 23, Pete Wilcox.
That's the first out of the inning. Nipper retired. Here's Caden Wilcox. Wilcox 0 for 3. First pitch from Sears to Wilcox, a called strike 1. No balls in the strike. Runner on second, 1 out. 6-3 Casper now. Sears set. Triple takes back to second, and the 0-1 misses high. 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 outside. 2 balls and a strike. So all 6 runs charged to Dylan Marsh. Runner on second is Sears' responsibility, and a foul tip at the plate by Wilcox. And Dylan Marsh's line is complete. Exactly 100 pitches needed through 5+ innings. 7 hits, 6 runs, 5 were earned, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. Two and 2 on Caden Wilcox. Long looking from Jude Sears. Now he comes set. The 2-2. Chopper right back to Sears on the mound. He fires the third and it's wild. And goes right by the Hardhats dugout. The throw to the plate is wild, and it heads off the screen behind the plate. Up to second goes Wilcox, and some sloppy baseball. As another run comes in and scores for Casper. So Wilcox reaches on the fielder's choice.
At the plate, number 1, Shane Taggart.
Ends up at second base thanks to an error. Shane Taggart, the 9th man sent to the plate this inning. 7-3 Casper. First pitch to Taggart. Misses downstairs, blocked by Solano, and up to third goes Wilcox as the ball escaped Solano to his right. Hardhats now being out hit 8-4. 4 errors in the final column. 1-0, misses downstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Infield brought in for the Hardhats. Trying to keep this a 4-run deficit with 1 out. Sears ready and the 2-0. High, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes now on Taggart. Bryce Lachlan led off this inning with a walk on deck, and Sears will face Lachlan as it's a 4-pitch walk. Puts runners on the corners.
The batter, number 32, Bryce Lachlan.
7-3 our score. Lachlan batting for the 2nd time this inning. Still on the top of the 6th. Runners on the corners. And the corner infielders playing in, middle, and double play depth. First pitch, chopper back to Sears. He fires the first in timeout number 2. As Tager was running on the pitch. Lachlan out for out number 2, 1-3. And now Maddox Houston. Runners on second and third, 2 gone. A 7-3 advantage for post 2. Set, and the first pitch to Houston bounces in front of the plate, blocked by Solano. A ball and no strikes. Houston 2 for 2 on the ball game. Has drove in a run with a single. And his second single, he ended up scoring a run. Bouncer right in front of the Hardhats dugout. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sears toes the rubber on the far first base side and twirls the baseball behind his back. Solano relays the signs, and Sears comes set the 1-1. Breaking ball called strike 2. It was a fast-moving ball game for the most part. Has slowed down tremendously. The 1-2. A flare, left field. Amari Sailor comes in and he makes the grab for out number 3. Finally, this inning is over, but a 6-run top of the 6th for Casper, and they take a 7-3 advantage heading to the bottom half. Hardhats try and counter after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast booth, Sales Service and Recreation. Justin Wicks back to the mound after a long half inning off. The Hardhats surrendered 6 runs in the top of the 6th inning and now trail 7-3. It'll be Jake Solano, Wyatt Anderson, and Harrison Good. So a steady part in the Hardhats lineup due up against Wicks. And no one warming in the bullpen for Casper. First pitch, bouncer to short on a high hop, a high throw, and it goes past and out of play. So Solano will take second base on a 2-base error. Ended up in the Casper dugout. Solano awarded second on the E6. Runner on second, nobody out. Wyatt Anderson, the new batter. An RBI single in the first, bounced into a 6-4-3 double play his last trip in the third. Wicks Only at 62 pitches. That was his 63rd, and he misses high and tight for ball one. So plenty of room for Wicks to potentially go the full 7. 1-0, a line drive foul by about a foot up the third base line. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Wicks toes the rubber once again. Working out of the stretch. Peek at second, double takes, kicks and deals the 1-1. Downstairs, swung on and missed. Now 1-2 on Anderson. Long looking from Justin Wicks. Catcher Lachlan wants it upstairs, maybe a high fastball. Long stare down with the runner at second before Wicks just steps off. Solano dancing around there. Peyton Tipton heading down to the bullpen with Phil Benz. This one popped up shallow center field, playable for Eric Whitley, and he makes the grab out number 1.
The fly brings up number 14, the right fielder, Harrison Good.
Now Harrison Good, 0 for 1 day after a sacrifice fly in the first. Bounce back to the pitcher in the third to end the third. Runner on second, 1 out. Hardhats trailing by 4, 7-3. And Good out in front of the first pitch from Wicks. Down in the count, he goes 0-1. So no balls and a strike on Good. The 0-1. Squares the bunt, drops it down, and that'll roll foul by a hair. Boy, Justin Wicks just watched that one and hoped that it had enough power on it and enough spin to just roll foul, and it did. Wicks ends up with a smile on his face and threatens to throw the bat back to the dugout away from Harrison Good. Smile across both of their faces. Now Wicks toes the rubber once again. No balls and 2 strikes on Harrison Good. The 0-2 misses high. A ball and 2 strikes. Solano at second, 1 out. Wicks steers him down there and fakes a move back to second. Still 1-2 on Good. Looking for his first hit. The 1-2 misses high. Even count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big secondary lead for Jake Solano. Trying to draw a throw down there. Stokes holding him on from his second base position. 2-2, swung on and missed. Good goes down swinging for out number 2.
Number 23, Kai Jackson.
That looks to be the first strikeout of the ball game for Justin Wicks. It brings up Kai Jackson, runner on second still, and now with 2 outs. First pitch to Jackson, a line drive to right center field, and it hangs up into the diving glove of the center fielder, Eric Whitley, who took a tumble on the play, and that's out number 3. Hardhats trailing 7-3. We head to the 7th after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail Broadcast Booth, Sales Service and Recreation. Top of inning number 7, and the Hardhats trailing 7-3. They will have 6, 7, and 8 due up in the bottom half of the 7th inning. We will play that regardless of how this top half turns out. Jude Sears and the Hardhats tap their Hardhats at the mound to start the 7th. Eric Whitley will lead things off for Casper. Whitley singled in the 6th inning, scored a run. 1 of 6 to come home for Casper in the 6th. First pitch to Whitley, who misses high for ball 1. One ball, no strikes, the count. And now 2 balls and no strikes. The 2-0 from Sears. A strike called at the knees. 2-1. So Whitley on the day with that single is 1 for 2. Dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd. A 2-1. Bouncer left side. Wilson Kiefer on the ground. He fires the first. A high throw, but snagged by Alex Dietrich for out number 1. Now Nolan Hornecker. Bases clearing, bases loaded, 3-run double. His last at bat, break things open in the 6th inning. Outside of that, he's 0 for 2, so 1 for 3 on the ball game. Watches ball 1 run upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. The 1-0 from Sears misses high. 2-0. Two balls and no strikes in the count on Hornecker. The 2-0. High, ball 3. 3-0 now. Sears to Hornecker. Hardhats trailing 7-3, top of the 7th. The 3-0. Right at the knees. 3 balls and a strike. Dab to the plate on the right side by Hornecker. Waves the bat head out in front as Sears comes set. 3-1. Swung on and missed. Now 3-2. One out, nobody on. Payoff pitch coming to the Oilers left fielder. And the payoff. Down away. Just got a piece as he sat back on the breaking ball. Another 3-2 coming to Hornecker. Ashton Armstrong on deck. The payoff popped up behind the plate, out of play. Off the awning. Three and 2, the count remains. Battling with Jude Sears, Nolan Hornecker. This is the 30th pitch for Sears. And the payoff is driven to left center field, down for a base hit. Cut off by Jed Jensen, and it's a single for Nolan Hornecker with 1 out.
Number 10, Ashton Armstrong.
And Coach Torvey now out of the dugout. Asked for time, and Looks to be the end of Jude Sears' day. They're looking at the wrist area of Jude Sears. Looks to be all right. It's not the end of the day for Jude. Trying to make sure everything was all right on his hand. So Jude looks to be fine. And Armstrong now coming to the plate. Runner on first and one gone. Sears set and the first pitch to Armstrong. Downstairs below the knees for ball one. 1 ball, no strikes. 7-3, Casper. Top of the 7th. 1 on, 1 gone. 1-0, down and in, 2-0. Set once again, the 2-0. Strike called at the bell. 2 balls and a strike now. Armstrong, the 9 batter. Stokes on deck is the top of the Casper lineup. 2-1 becomes 3 balls and a strike now. Sears set the 3-1. A strike at the belt. Breaking ball that time from Sears. Now another payoff. Payoff pitch from Sears. Low jam shot blooper into the glove of Wyatt Anderson. He fires across, not in time. As Hornecker dives back in. It's out number 2 on a little bloop liner. Now Thomas Stokes. 2-run double was last time. That came in the 6th. A single before that. He's 2 for 4. First pitch to Stokes. Right below the belt for a called strike 1. No balls and a strike. Sears likes the sign from Solano, comes set, and the 0-1. Breaking ball chopped right at the plate, foul. 0-2 now. Grant Nipper would be next, should this inning continue. Sears ready. The 2-strike pitch. This is up and away. A ball and 2 strikes. Twirls the baseball behind his back before coming set, and the 1-2. Line drive right at Wilson Kiefer to a slide. He makes the grab, out number 3. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Hardhats trailing 7-3. Back in a moment on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome back to the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail broadcast booth. Sales, service, and recreation. Bottom of the 7th. The Hardhats trying to mount a comeback, trailing by 4. It's 7-3 in favor of Casper in the final game of this 3-game set this weekend with the Casper Post 2 Oilers. Hardhats took the lead in the bottom of the first. Casper countered with 1 in the top of the second. Hardhats took a 3-1 advantage with 1 in the bottom of the 4th. They held that lead until the top of the 6th. A 6-run inning for Casper, and that's where this ballgame stands up to this point. Hardhats being out hit 9-4 and outscored 7-3. And unfortunately for the Hardhats, they're beating the Oilers in the errors column 4-1. First pitch to Alex Dietrich, misses down and away for ball 1. Justin Wicks back to the mound to try for the complete game and the victory. Into the line, the 1-0. Fastball right below the belt, called strike 1. Even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Dietrich today 0 for 2. And he goes after the 1-1, fouls it behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Reached on a drop third strike in the second and bounced to short his last trip in the 4th. The 1-2. Bouncer right at the plate. Foul. Wicks, his pitch count favorable. This is his 77th pitch, and it misses high for ball 2. Even count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2. A fly ball to right center field, a run for the center fielder Whitley, and he runs underneath it to put a squeeze on it for out number 1.
The batter, number 10, Peyton Tipton.
Now Peyton Tipton, pair of flies to left. Here today, 1 to the warning track in left field. And Hornecker takes an extra step back. Tipton at the plate. 1 out, nobody on. Wicks into the wind. Tipton scores the bunt, drops it down right in front of the plate. The catcher fields and fires to first, but it's not in time. Tipton beats it out. 1 out, infield bunt single. That's what the Hardhats need, is base runners trailing by 4. Brings up Jet Jensen. 1 out, man on second. Jensen 0 for 2. Fly to left and reached on the fielder's choice. Eventually caught stealing. And a long pause from Wicks on the mound before Jensen asked for time. Tipton aboard first, 1 gone. First pitch to Jensen is a fly ball to deep right center field. On the run, Whitley still going back, and he makes the grab for out number 2 in the right center field alley. Couple of flies to center for the 2 outs. Now Wilson Kiefer. Kiefer trying to flip the lineup card over and bring up Amarian Saylor, who's in the on-deck circle. 2 outs, runner on first. First pitch to Kiefer, a bouncer to third. Taggart up with it, fires across, and a scoop on the back end by Maddox Houston in time for out number 3, and that's the ball game. Hardhats take 2 of 3 against Casper with game 3, the final score of 7-3. We'll take a 30-second step aside and back for our Pioneer Bank and Trust postgame show after this on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome into the Pioneer Bank and Trust post-game show. Pioneer Bank and Trust is proud to support local sports, and they want to be your trusted partner for all your banking needs. Pioneer Bank and Trust is local. Visit pioneerbankandtrust.com. Hardhats fall 7-3 to Casper in the final game of this 3-game set. They take 2 of 3 on the weekend against Post 2. And this one that kind of slipped through the fingertips of the Hardhats. They led in this ball game and 3-1 heading to the 6th inning, and then a big 6-run 6th inning for Post 2. And that's what led the Oilers to their 7-3 victory in this one. Dylan Marsh takes the loss, allowing 6 runs, 5 earned over 5 innings. 2 strikeouts, 3 walks, 7 hits. Jude Sears in relief allows 1 unearned run on 2 hits over 2 innings and 1 walk. So the Hardhats fall to 20-11. Still 9 games over 500. And Post 2 is back to 500 at 11-11 on the season. The Hardhats set their sights now on Post 320 and the parking lot rivalry as they head across the parking lot to Pete Lean Field on Wednesday night. And they will face the Stars at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. But first, today's player of the game sponsored by Claiborne Loos and Sabres. Whether it's divorce, injury, or a business dispute, when you need someone to step up for you, the law office at Claiborne Loos and Sabres is always ready. Just Google Claiborne Loos and Sabres in Rapid City. And Game 2's player of the game, Amarian Saylor. He went 2 for 2, scored a run, and also drew a walk, so on base for all 3 times in the leadoff spot for Amarian Saylor, and he is Game 2's player of the game. So until Wednesday evening at approximately 6:50 Mountain Time for our pregame show, my name is Adam Birch. Thank you so much for tuning in all weekend long to Hardhats Baseball. We'll see you Wednesday night right here on Hardhats TV and Fox Sports Rapid City.